until I had a plan that I knew could compound, most of the mental energy about my financial future went to, what am I going to do to grow this? What if it all goes away? What if this happens? And now that I have a plan, it's like that's satisfied and I'm excited by it. What I'm hearing you say is that the next layer to that is to bake in things that I now give myself permission to do.
Yes.
And so the next part of the plan is to identify what are those life-giving goals, activities, and milestones that we can work along the way and attach milestones to.
I'm not perfect. I'm a human. I've got my human emotions and they're chunky and cloggy and I have my days. But I do feel I've been able to create a framework for myself and a mindset of a fulfilled millionaire. And the more I exercise that, and what all that simply means is my money doesn't rule me. My money is there to support me in my dreams.
JP, you know, I've had a lot of highs and lows and wins and losses with my net worth and the economy. I've had some accidental wins. I've had some losses that were really, really bad. And so in the last couple of years, I've had to relearn a lot of things that I should have learned at, you know, the peak of my career, if you will.
This isn't the peak of your career. You're young, Ryan. There's lots more to go.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
it. What I mean is when I had my biggest financial windfall,
Gotcha.
I made some decisions that I wish I could take back, right? It seemed like the right ones at the time. Thought I was being smarter than most people. I was not smarter than most people. I should have called smarter friends and asked for advice. So I have now in the last year created a framework for myself about how to manage my money. And it feels right to me. And I have been following it, but I realized recently that I have not actually run this by my smart friends. So I would like to do that.
Plural or just me?
Yeah. Mostly just you.
Okay, so I'm a smart friend.
That's right. So I was hoping we could do that today.
Sure.
All right. So I ran the numbers recently of what it would take for me to end my life or career. That sounded morbid.
It did.
The numbers of how
I'm
to
like,
end my
wow,
life.
this is a January episode?
When I was a kid, my goal was I wanted to have a net worth of $100 million.
Right.
And my approach or strategy was hope I have a great idea and a good business and I'll make $100 million. But when I sat down and ran the numbers after losing my shirt in some bad investments, okay, if I had done this the boring way and just put money into long-term index funds that compounded at between 9 and 10%, which is the average return of the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. Okay, if that was just the average for the next few decades of my life, what would I have to do in order to compound into $100 million? And the answer was I would have to invest $200,000 a year into the S&P 500 for 40 years. Now I'll be 77 by that time. But all of a sudden, my brain kind of changed. And I started to see the compounding returns of time and consistency.
Sure.
I understand that with dieting.
Right.
Makes sense. You know, you maintain a deficit, you work out for a long period of time, you have compounding returns.
Right.
Add some steroids and some short-term hacks and you're set. But with investing, I had never thought about it like that. I had thought about big wins. And as a result, I had also had some big losses.
Correct. And Ryan, remember, I've done about 3,000 of these financial consultations through my life with investors. And I always say people come with broken hearts and broken money stories. And I've heard so many broken money stories that this is a very common story that I hear a lot. People shooting too high. They got overconfident. They made a big windfall. They get overconfident. They didn't really understand the risk adjusted return and they shot high and bad things happened.
When you say risk-adjusted return, does that mean the premium you're getting for something that might go to zero?
Correct. Yeah. And I think a lot of us, it's human nature. I'll tell you a quick funny story. Yeah, the answer is yes. I'll tell you a funny story last night. I'm looking at all these coins because as we know, we have a new president in the office and crypto is going nuts right now at the moment. So I was looking at these coins that I know, like they're joke coins that have market capitalizations of like $54 billion. I mean, the owners of these coins say they do nothing. and we know which ones these are, right? I mean, I think you know what I'm talking about. Like $54 billion of investors literally chasing. It's not a business. It's not a revenue source. It's truly a created coin that everyone's just trying to like outmarket each other to watch it go up.
Those numbers are fudged, right?
Oh, okay.
So they might release 1% of total supply, and then they'll times that by 100, and that's the market cap.
Right.
So it's actually like $540 million of money has flooded into that coin. Total market cap is $54 billion.
I understand. My point is this though, whether it's 540 million or 54 billion, is we a lot of times, I think as humans, we want to go with the crowd. We want to go with the pack.
Yeah.
So here, oh, Elon's doing this, or this is this, or my friend has an edge on this. And we don't really have a good sense to weigh in how much risk am I taking for a reward? And is that a risk I should be taking? Because to your point, Ryan, not losing principal, just that alone, there's the compounding of actually making that 9 or 10%, and then not losing 80 to 100% of your investment a bunch of times. You do the math on that, that's compounding the other direction.
Right.
Of not having to fight back that $200,000 loss, that $100,000 loss, or what have you. So they're both, compounding goes both directions, in the positive and the negative.
Yeah, it never occurred to me that the like market gets 9-10% consistently.
Yeah.
And so if you're not going to get that, you might as well just put it into the market. And so I mean, I thought that I was like well-versed in money, and then turns out growing money is a very different skill set than making money.
It really is.
And
it's hard, by the way. And they don't teach us this. There's no literacy around it. Like, how do you learn? You know, the closest people talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a great book about cash flow, but we really don't have a lot of frameworks of actually not only how do you keep your money, but how do you actually become a fulfilled millionaire? Like, it's one thing to be a millionaire, to have that number. I remember when I finally hit that number, like what a big deal it was, but it was a really empty victory. It was a really like, you're really excited for about 3 days, and then you're just like, it's nothing, it's just credits. But how do you actually become a fulfilled millionaire? By managing your money properly, that the money's actually working for the things that matter to you most.
I haven't figured that one out yet.
I can help you.
Good. I'm glad. So my strategy after seeing that if I invest $200,000 a year, and I've never made less than $200,000 a year, if I invest that consistently for 40 years, that compounds into $100 million. And when I ran those numbers, my whole body went, okay, well, I can hit that minimum. That doesn't sound like a problem. Okay, now I have my $100 million plan. How do I build on top of this? And then I started to build a plan on top of that foundation, because if everything else goes to poop, but I put $200,000 a year into the S&P 500, I have a $100 million plan, theoretically. Now, of course, the market could go up less. It could go down. Who knows? There could be an act of God where I can't work and make an income anymore. Who knows? But I now feel like I've relaxed into a long-term plan that just the maths. Now I can build on top of that and say, all right, how good can things get? What if I do better than average? I have my minimum viable investing plan, that I've got my $100 million plan. Well, what if things go better than average? I've proven to myself that I can be an idiot. So I have to invest the $200,000 a year, and I can't invest in anything else until I have invested that $200,000 into the S&P 500. Okay. Anything on top of that, now I can go into my growth bucket. My growth bucket is I genuinely enjoy keeping a list of stocks that I track, that I know the stories of, that I'm interested in, that I believe in, and I'm watching their numbers, and I'm tracking the earnings per share, and I'm looking for them to go on sale. And about once or twice a year, one of them goes on sale.
Yep.
So my next bucket is I invest in something that I think is undervalued and meets my numbers, and I'm enjoying getting better at running the analyses on these types of companies and on these investments. And then if I do that well, then I can look at speculation. Then I can look at, okay, I'm going to put more into Bitcoin, or I'm going to invest in the co-working space that you and I both know about that's here in Austin that I feel really excited to be a part of. I want to work there. I want to be a part of that community. I threw some money into that. And it makes me happy to be a part of something like that, but that's part of the speculation bucket. So that's kind of the long and short of that plan. I ran the numbers on, okay, what if I hit my numbers on the minimum for my liquidity, putting into the broad market? Well, what if I put just as much into my growth stocks and I did 15% per year? Over the same amount of time, my wealth could compound into $1 billion. And I actually wrote out how this all maths. And all of a sudden I started to see, okay, first of all, I can take my time. I realized that if I just hit my minimums, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had breathing room in my life again, because I don't need to figure out what my $100 million plan is right now. I can relax into doing really high quality work because I already have my $100 million plan. Might even compound into $1 billion. And the irony is, of course, if I'm relaxed into doing really good work, I'm probably going to do better work and make more money.
Correct.
So I wanted to run this plan by you. First of all, I just by having a plan, I feel like my whole system has 100%. Relaxed.
Having a plan. Most people don't have a plan, Ryan. I can't tell you how many people. Almost no one I know has.
Didn't. And I thought I was better than most.
Yeah. No. Most people don't have a coherent plan, and a lot of the fear comes from because you don't have a plan. How could you feel certain about anything if you don't have a plan or a roadmap?
I never could have articulated that until I went, oh crap, I don't have a plan.
No.
Now that I have a plan, every month I'm excited for the growth of the plan. I get a dopamine hit every month because I'm 1 month closer. I feel it has changed the way that I see a lot of my life. It's changed the way that I view my workouts. It's changed the way that I view my business. It's like, how can I break this down into such simplicity that I look forward to the plan?
Yeah, I think that's great, Ryan. And there's one more piece I'd add to that. Hopefully could be helpful to what you're doing. So imagine, let's just go out. You're $100 million. You now are you're worth $100 million. You did it. And how old are you? How many years did you put on your plan?
Well, I gave myself a long time horizon of 40 years. Okay. So I'd be 77.
Okay, Ryan, let's go to the 77-year-old Ryan Moran. Okay. And you look back and you did it. You did it. Let's figure out the number. Let's just say you hit $100 million. What's it feel like?
Nothing. I mean, like, quite honestly, JP, I do not have a why behind $100 million or $1 billion. And I find that question paralyzing and ultimately unhelpful.
What if it could be helpful instead of paralyzing?
First, in my defense, before we beat me up for not having a why.
Okay.
Having the plan and allowing myself to relax.
That's everything.
Is the why.
I get it.
Like, I feel different as a result of having the plan.
I hear you. So what happens, Ryan, if you hit a bad year next year and you don't contribute for 3 years in a row? The economy goes funky. Crypto, it turns out not to be as everyone thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And you don't hit it for 3 or 4 years. Do you beat yourself up because you're off the plan? Does it create stress? Or can you allow yourself to go 3 or 4 years without contributing to the plan, without you feeling a feeling of like a failure feeling, or feeling like I'm off plan?
I think that the way I would react is looking forward to getting back on track so I can follow the plan.
Great.
I feel a lot of conviction.
Right.
For the plan.
Totally. So I think it's great. And I think having a plan is absolutely better than not having a plan. And the words you've used, by the way, is you've told me it makes you feel more relaxed.
Yep.
And more open space that I can just exhale.
Yes.
That is, and I agree with you, that is so important because that gives you your time wealth, which is your ultimate wealth besides your health.
I have noticed, I feel like I have more time.
Of course. Because you're more present in your time. When you relax, you're more present in your time. So you're actually you're experiencing time wealth. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what if I could tell you, Ryan, that we could take the plan that you have and we can add more to it and start putting in some things that'll actually, you don't have to wait till you're 77 to feel these huge victories.
Does that mean that I have to complicate the plan?
I don't have to complicate it.
Because part of the beauty, I think, is the simplicity.
Right.
I'm going to put this much into low cost index funds, and then I have my growth plan, and then I have my spend. That's super simple.
What if we had victories more often than you turning 77? What if we had one every year? And we actually got the same dopamine that you wanted from the 100 million. What if we could actually reverse engineer the dopamine drip you want at 100? Because what you're really looking for, Ryan, the amount means nothing. Yeah. At 100 million, you're probably not going to get a 5th house or a 9th wife. You never know. It happens these days. You could. But what if we were to reverse it?
It will be 2065.
Hey, you might be living to 200. This might be your third wife or fourth wife.
Okay.
But we don't wish that upon you. We'll just have to see how it goes. But here's my point. What if we could reverse engineer that dopamine hit that you want to get? Because really
I don't want a dopamine hit at 100 million. I feel like I'm getting one every month because I'm moving closer.
Great. Okay. But ultimately, what is the 100 million, I think for you, from what you said, symbolizes ultimately I'm safe. No matter what happens, or not if anything happens, but it gives me a feeling of safety.
Being in alignment to that plan gives me that feeling of safety.
Okay.
Having 100 million does not give me a feeling. Like, who cares?
Right.
It could be 50 or 25 or it doesn't matter. Like, but being in alignment with that plan and knowing that I'm going to do that for a long time.
Right.
That is what gives me the feeling of safety.
I love it. So what if we could take that, not change that, and let's get the word complicate out of there. What if we could start firing for you some short-term benchmarks on your life that revolve around some of the four-dimensional wealth items? Let's just go right to purpose. And you and I could go off for this a long time. I know you well enough, Ryan, that I know your purpose. I know a lot of the why that makes you cry. I mean, you're brilliant at many things. But what if we could actually tie some dollar amounts? You still can keep your big plan. I'm not taking away your big plan. You can keep it. But what if we could do some shorter term things that literally, as you achieve over the next 6 to 12 months, starts firing that when you have this experience, for instance, you go to Cleveland and you buy your first 2 rentals, right? Let's say in 12 months from now, you and I are in Cleveland together and you bought your first duplex or fourplex or sixplex. What if you actually created that now as part of your plan? So it's not only the 200,000, but it's 200,000 plus I'm going to buy this duplex in Cleveland. And the reason why I'm going to buy this duplex in Cleveland, because I know you pretty well, Ryan, is A, you love your hometown. B, you've told me that it's really important to you from a value perspective to bring that town around, to show your support.
Yep.
And ultimately what you really want to do is you want to mentor young entrepreneurs that maybe don't have Austin, Texas, and you want to help them, you want to help mentor them in businesses so that they can be successful. It may ultimately look like a WeWork, which is why you're attracted to WeWorks. Because ultimately, Ryan, for your purpose, you want to help people through mentorship, through education, through empowerment. You want to help the next generation.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need any clarification on something. Is what you are suggesting that we add in pieces of wealth building that are in line with purpose? Or are you saying that we add in rewards that make the wealth plan more enjoyable along the way?
I'm saying that we actually add in more benchmarks that are aligned to Ryan today, not present Ryan, not 77-year-old Ryan, that actually are wealth benchmarks, but also tie into your legacy. They tie into your purpose.
Okay.
So when you win, like let's just visualize 12 months from now and you have your first duplex and you ultimately know you're going to have
We got to
WeWork.
pick something other than having a duplex in Cleveland, Ohio for this to land.
How about you ultimately want a WeWork. You want to create an office building.
I want to open a co-working center.
Okay, let's just go aggressive then. Let's just say you get to this co-working center and you're standing there and you have the ribbon cutting, boom, and it's gorgeous. And you and I could like spend the next 30 minutes, but we won't right now, describing it. Mm-hmm. I would have you describe it with Joe Stolte over here. We do a chat GPT and we'd have the whole thing like built out for you, like exactly what it's going to feel like, the atmosphere, what's going to happen to people. But the reason why I think that's important is you literally could say, you know what? I made $200,000 for the S&P, but I know this can be profitable too. And the next thing I want to do that really aligns with me, who I am and my purpose, is putting $40,000 or $50,000 aside for the next 10 years. Maybe you're 10 years or 5 years away from the center. I'm going to start looking, but this is really important to me. And the reason why this is important to me, it's economic. It will be, when I hit it, I know I've hit a certain dimension of wealth that I can now afford my own piece of real estate in Cleveland, exactly what I want. But it also is hitting these other dimensions of like, wow, I'm now hitting legacy. I'm becoming the magic manifester. Like I can just make up these $10 million investments and they just happen now. And I can tell you from my own experience, Ryan, the more you do this and the more you start firing up their financial goals, financial metrics that are actually met with these other dimensions, you get really good at hitting them. It's crazy. I can't even tell you the magic of all of a sudden what starts out at $3 million becomes a $7 million project, which becomes like for me right now, I'm working on a $3 million nonprofit project.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to process this out loud because you're going
I'm
real
fast.
quick.
I am sorry.
And I got to make sure I understand.
Okay.
What I think I'm hearing you say is that we can bake in other financial moves that are in alignment with a greater purpose that we give ourselves permission to pursue once we hit certain financial objectives.
What if you didn't even
Oh my goodness, just say yes or no.
What if you didn't need permission?
Okay.
In other words, what if that was just the way you do things?
So, I mean, something is not tracking with me in this because that all of a sudden feels like if it deviates me from my plan,
Right.
I've moved off script and I don't have the same certainty in which I am currently marching down that plan.
Right.
So there's something I'm missing, or that I think I might be more excited about the plan right now than working in other things.
I think what to understand, Ryan, could be, first of all, we're making some assumptions here. One of your assumptions is that the S&P is going to be safe and always do this 9%. Now, Ryan, you're a really talented entrepreneur. You've made much higher returns than 9%. Just stick with me here for a second. There could be other things. Like if you and I really were to sit here for an entire day, I bet you we can come up with 5 other things we could do. And I understand the S&P just feels safe. It gives you a format, and that format gives you a structure. And I don't want to take that away from you yet. I'm just saying if we tie in even that let's just stick with the S&P. The more you tie in the things you need, but they're tied into other things that are short-term goals, not long-term goals, that are going to bring you joy. Like for instance, let's just throw in one example. I'll throw one more example. Taking your kids on a crazy vacation. I know you went to Disneyland this year. Mm-hmm. You told me how much joy that created for you. Mm-hmm. So what if you baked into your financial plan, keep your S&P, a $50,000 crazy budget, audacious, $100,000, you pick your number, an audacious budget that you make a commitment that between now and the time your kids hit 20, which is exactly what I'm doing with my kids right now. Every year that my kids get more cognizant, the budget goes up on what I do with them on a vacation. They get more exotic. I can tell you it's actually part of my wealth plan. Not because that's going to have a compounding return, but I know when I make money and I bring money in, a lot of times I visualize the next trip. So I'm anchoring in things that matter most to me, my family, those experiences with my family, the things that create real wealth and fire for me the most amount of joy. And I attach that to a result. So for instance, I have a building that's selling in 60 days from now. And I can share with you, I've got 4 or 5 things I've already attached to that. I could put it all in the S&P and get my 9%. And by the way, I will put some money in some boring, predictable things like the S&P. Like I'm not going to just go do all these things with it. But I'm firing all these other things in my other categories that I'm planning to do that light me up, that light my family up, that will give me the highest degree. So when it closes, it doesn't feel like an empty victory of more credits going into my bank account. It feels like it's exciting. It feels like a huge win. It's like, I mean, my next trip's actually going to be to Seoul, Korea. It's my last trip before Alec leaves the house. And I have this outrageous, he's a foodie. I have this outrageous food tour with like a private chef. Like I'm going to go all in. And even though I could afford it, I'm actually tying it to the close of this building. And I've got about 4 other things, including my next dream car that I'm going to get for myself if it all closes. So I've built in all these emotional things that fire my brain off so that when you're doing business and you're doing your plan, there's a lot of fun. You're peppering in some fun. And there's still discipline in my backbone. So don't feel like you have to give up your discipline. Keep your discipline. Just make sure you're sprinkling in fun so that this discipline thing that you're on brings you joy and lots of like quality, and not just a plan, but it's a plan that's a little more, if I can say it, if it's a little more 4-dimensional than just a plan. It's got lots of triggers in it and lots of anchors.
The difference in how I feel after just having a plan is that I feel like I can now have permission to have things like this.
Great. Awesome.
Because before, when it was just like, I made some money, there was no plan of how to allocate it.
Totally.
Now I'm either following the plan or I'm more aggressively following the plan, and I can have permission to, well, if I hit my minimums, I'm already on the $100 million plan.
Right.
So now I can take some extra and buy happiness. and I can do some fun things.
Correct.
I didn't give myself that permission at all before. It was actually a burden of figuring out what I was going to do with this money, which meant that I usually pissed it all away in investments that went to zero.
Right.
So I'm tracking with you. I don't think I could have heard that
without a plan
until I had a plan.
I'm with you. You've been saying something too, and hopefully, I think you already know this, but I'm just going to put some terms to it. The 100 million is great. Like, again, it's arbitrary. It's a goal. It's like, I'm going to do a marathon. That's going to be 26 miles. I'm going to do it. But actually, what you're talking about, if you think about it, what you've said to me multiple times is like, I'm going to put $200,000 a year into the S&P. When I have extra money, I can do X, Y, and Z. So what you really need to know to actually track this plan of yours is you need to have a plan around your cash flow that you're going to have after all of your expenses, right? So you have to know what you're spending, because in order to invest the $200,000, you have to have $200,000 of free cash flow after your house, after your expenses. So as part of your plan, I'd say to you, obviously craft out, it'll make you feel even better, how you're going to get the $200,000 between your active income and your passive income. And the 200,000 is just your base. That gets you to the safety. Every dollar above the 200,000, you're in the bonus round, right?
That's right.
Of these trips. You can do some speculative investments. You can do some real estate. We're going to get you your center in Cleveland. And what you're going to find, you're going to have some years that you just kill it. You almost like, you might 5X or 4X or 10X. Like, you're just going to kill it. And so again, you're giving yourself just some dimensions here of like, this is my active income minimum. And if you have a bad year, you can make it up the next year. But now you actually have, like, you know your burn rate, so you know what you're spending, which is like step 1 of the 7 steps of 4-dimensional wealth. You know what you're spending. You know that 200,000 is core to your plan. You got to make, like, nothing goes, from what I'm hearing you say, like, after everything's spent, that first 200,000 is going towards index funds, correct?
That's right.
So let's make that, like, let's make that part of your plan so we know how you're going to do that. And I would even encourage you, Ryan, at that point, is to just have a plan of how you're going to have that $200,000.
Yeah. I mean, I've never not made that.
I know. But if you want to feel really good about your plan, because I'm saying literally, like, for you probably at this point, that's like, duh, of course I can do that. It's like simple stuff.
Right.
So then let's go into bonus rounds. Let's show it on paper how you're going to get to the 200 between your active income and your passive income. And then what if you knew every year that number was going to be 500,000 instead of 200,000? We already know you're going to get to you're going to head towards $1 billion that way, correct?
That's
much
right.
Closer to $1 billion.
It's actually 500,000. If I invest 500,000 instead of 200,000, it compounds into about $1 billion.
So how fun would it be to not only track how you're going to get to the 200,000, but have a plan for your bonus rounds and actually start to tier out, like, how you're going to get to your $1 billion, which is your long-term goal, but what are the other things you could be doing that once you get to that 200,000, that really hit your relationships, enhance your relationships? Like, again, these trips with your family. What could you do for your community? You talked about maybe this center in Cleveland is a community thing. It sounds like it would be. What other purpose things could you hit? I know you've got a lot of things you've wanted to do. Do you want to start a nonprofit? Like,
are these long-term things?
I think the answer is
that's not something that I could just whip out.
Here's the point, though, Ryan, is let's build that out. Why don't we build that out for you now? Because I think that's a 36-month goal or less. Can you see it?
I have it in my mind as about 5 years.
I don't think so. I think you can do it sooner.
Okay.
I really do. Knowing what I know about you, I feel like you could do it in 3. But again, so let's take the same certainty you have around the plan, your $100 million plan, and whatever is important to you next. I'm not saying, I'm just using this as an example.
I'm trying you.
Let's start making a list for you through a list of questions and prompting you. And maybe you'll start to really look at what are the most important things. Like, if money was no object, this is where I'd be spending my time. And let's, like, prioritize that and actually do little mini plans around your big plan. Because I found for me that when I do that, I actually have a dollar amount. I'm all about, Ryan, like, I fixate over dollar amounts and raising things. Like, I'm very goal oriented. And I find that the more I flex that muscle, the better I get at making that happen. Because there's certainty and I know where I want to go. And I just started telling people where I want to go. And all of a sudden the universe starts sending the people in that are helping me to where I want to go. So if you want to build a red brick 3-story house in Austin, Texas, that's how we work. And it's going to have 20 people. And it's going to be having programming coming into it. And there's going to be the best whiskey bar in all of Texas, or I'm making this up, but whatever your version of that is, the more you actually start to paint the picture and talk about it and know how much it's going to cost to put together, you're going to get a lot of these victories on your way to 100 million is all I'm telling you.
I think the work then for me, and again, I could not have done
Does
this
that
until
make sense? I don't know if
it does. It forces me to sit and dream a little bit.
It does. It really does.
I would say that until I had a plan that I knew could compound, most of the mental energy about my financial future went to, what am I going to do to grow this?
Yeah.
What if it all goes away? What if this happens? And now that I have a plan, it's like that's satisfied and I'm excited by it. What I'm hearing you say is that the next layer to that is to bake in things that I now give myself permission to do.
Yes.
And so the next part of the plan is to identify what are those life-giving goals, activities, and milestones that we can work along the way and attach milestones to.
Yes. You know, Ryan, for me lately, just came to me, the fulfilled millionaire. Because I've seen so many people with money who actually become less fulfilled because they're so goal-oriented on their company, 2Xing, 4Xing their company. And they're so focusing on that, they're letting their marriages or their relationships with their family, they're stuck to their phone owns them, they don't own their phone, so they don't own their time. And I feel very fortunate, and this has been my own journey, and you've been on this journey with me, Ryan. I'm not perfect, I'm a human, I've got my human emotions, and they're chunky and cloggy, and I have my days. But I do feel I've been able to create a framework for myself and a mindset of a fulfilled millionaire. And the more I exercise that, and what all that simply means is my money doesn't rule me. My money is there to support me in my dreams. And I'm dreaming crazy things, right? And they keep happening right now. And they're not all about me. It's about raising money for a charity I care about. I just did like 2x what I thought I could raise in a matter of 90 days. I now have 2 other really fun projects on fundraising for other people on things that just interest me, people that I meet. And then like the real estate, like I was telling you before we got on camera here about this real estate deal, that I've learned to free myself of stress. It's almost like this playful money game. And I'm so confident because I've been doing it for so long that it's taking the stress and anxiety out of my body, and I'm in a deep place of trust. And I find that when I'm in a deep place of trust, it's so much bigger than just me. It's so great to come home to my family and give the energy of safety to them. I don't have to say it. I am it.
So where
does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It makes sense, but I'm not seeing what you're saying needs to be different about my plan or how I need to think about this differently in order to achieve.
You don't. You're actually, your plan is the path to what I'm talking about, of being a fulfilled millionaire. So I'm not trying to change your plan. I think I'm going to call your plan the backbone for you.
Yeah,
it's a really good backbone. So let's not it's not either or, Ryan. I'm literally giving you supplemental ideas of adding these dreams along the way, because it's so fulfilling that by the time I'm 77, God willing, and if, let's just see, we'll use the same 100 million, you're at 100 million, whatever the number is. It's so cool. Hey, I achieved this number. And by the way, I have a number for me too. I do have a number in the next 10 years. And like you, it's just kind of a suggestion because it probably won't change my life much. But the thrill and the victories for me right now are coming all the time with great frequency and great satisfaction. And that's all I'm suggesting.
Because why?
Because I now am at the point where I can look at the currency as happy helpers to a higher dimensional life. They're happy helpers at this point. I get to bring so much joy for other people. I get to do things. And Ryan, at this point, I'm getting constant feedback from the universe that I'm bending things for people that they didn't think were bendable. It's like becoming a wizard, and not because I'm so great. I've just been doing this a long time.
That is a change in money story.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Kyle Cease who runs people through an exercise of how would you talk to money as if you were on a date with it.
Love it.
Some people would say, I never have enough of you. I never get enough of you. You're never around. You're always running the other way. That's how people will talk to money when they're on a date with it.
Right.
And what I just heard you say was, there's something that has shifted in you that is, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm
grateful.
I'm excited to share you, and more keeps showing up because your relationship to it is different.
Yeah.
And I think what has happened for me similarly is, now that I have the backbone to my plan, I'm not chasing it. And so there's been space for me to be creative in how I play with it, in my work, in my investments, in my content.
Yeah.
There's some space to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
And so there is room for it to compound. My story's changed about it too.
It's amazing. Just Ryan, for most people, there is a feeling of not feeling safe around, like, the safety is such a big issue. And if you think money's going to run it, like to your point about the dating thing, if you think money's always elusive or running away from you, how can you feel safe? And so just to the point, if you can be one of the people or someone in the audience that just has some safety, like, I feel good. Like, and it's crazy because, Ryan, it's been a really rough year for commercial real estate. I've had my setbacks. You've heard them. As my friend, it's not like money. It's easy when money's pouring from the sky to feel really safe.
I feel so abundant.
Money's never going to
manifested this. Yeah.
What happens when money pulls back?
Yeah.
And it's really been a test for me. Can I still feel safe in spite of money? I've had to give some back this year. I've had to make. I joke, and since New Year's, Ryan, I've had somebody asking me for money, a cash call, a capital call, almost every day of the week on my investments, because real estate's going through, I call it a price discovery phase right now. We're rediscovering the price of real estate right now. And it's not fun. It's quite expensive. But I've also built an infrastructure, and I've built a mindset and infrastructure over the years that, like, feeling pretty good. I'm going to bed peacefully. I'm waking up, as our friend Sam would says, I feel like I'm going to bed peacefully, waking up happy, and living my days in presence. And not all the time, I'm human, but most of the time. And I don't think I could have done that 10 years ago or 5 years ago. It's taken me a long time to put this framework in place where there's just so much there that I know with confidence. Sometimes money comes in, sometimes money comes out, because it's a flow. It's currency, right? So it's in and out, just like a river. And when you don't try so hard to keep it from going out, like leaking, let it leak sometimes. There's enough. It's like, let it go. And right now, instead of like freaking out or like tightening up, it's like, what if I was to donate more to charity than I've ever donated before? And that's actually what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about making the biggest donation of my life right now on something I'm really passionate about. And it goes against, my brain. And I love the expression, give till it hurts, because this one would hurt. And apparently if you give till it hurts, you're right on the edge of like doing the actual spiritual practice. That's the work. When you give, when you feel safe, that's great. And I'm not doing it to be crazy. I'm not doing it to prove anything. This is like my own spiritual work around money so that it doesn't own me. I don't want to be owned by it. So this is like my liberation, actually, is to keep pushing that muscle. And then you get flow.
So give me an assignment that's in alignment with your framework of what I should bring to the rest of my plan.
What I would love, Ryan, for you to do is the Ryan Moran version, what I've been calling the Starbucks exercise. I would love, Ryan, and I'm happy to help you, but you and I could go on. I have the 20 questions, or we could just do it. But I'd love for you to come back to me and tell me in the next 3 years, 5 years, if it's easier for you, 3 to 5 years, that's 3, some major milestones in your life that, again, it's probably going to be around your kids, like milestones that you're celebrating that money's going to support.
Can do.
Crazy vacation, trip of my dreams around the world with like whatever it is for you. I'd love to hear from you. Let's say 5, 10's too many. Let's even just, if you had 5 of those things, I would be interested, and maybe I could participate in one. Like maybe we'll do a crazy trip or do something that's really interesting to you. I'd love to do that with you as step 1.
I'm happy to do that. Here's what's coming up for me as you say this, and then we'll close.
Yeah.
I'm only now, very recently, feel like I'm able to give myself permission to even do those things.
I know.
Isn't that wild?
It hurts me, but I know it because I know it in me. when you say it, I know that part of me that for years was constricting and living in scarcity and fear and how many hours it's wasted in my life.
And it didn't matter how much you made. There was still this sense of, I'll do the thing when. Like someday life will smooth out and then I'll plan for the things that I want to do. And there's been grief lately over losing out on some joyous memories that I didn't carve out time for.
I understand.
Yeah. And that got my attention recently, which is part, I think, what is pushing me in a different direction.
I've had a lot of anxiety and sleepless nights in raising kids and going through all this of not having a plan or a structure. And it's really painful.
Yeah.
I had a funny thing today. So my wife, my darling wife, who you know very well, she always has like things, like there's always things. And so I learned at an early part of my life when I got advice from someone that we both know. And he said, if you want to stop fighting with your wife over money, there's one simple solution. You just got to make more money. Because we used to have fight over like organic diapers, and she was just, everything was organic. I'm like, how much more organic can we have? Like, don't know if I can keep up with this organic. I might need to become an Uber driver to keep up with your organic habit here. And so today she threw another one at me. She threw like a little thing at me.
Organic Wi-Fi?
No, she wants a whole house organic water, something that I know is very expensive. And she looked at me and I think she was testing me because she knows right now, like, it's not like this isn't a moment of like raining down abundance. If anything, I'd call this, I'm trying to be more disciplined. There's a trip I wanted to go on that I just said no to because I'm just trying to be a little more disciplined right now. So she was testing me and I looked at her and I said, go get it. But I said, here's the rules. Don't tell me how much it cost. Don't ask me the brand. Just tell me, hey, JP, isn't this pretty? We now have a beautiful water filter for our house, but don't ask me anything and don't tell me how much it cost. And if you do that, you're doing me a favor because it frees my energy of not having to think about it. If you go back and forth with me and tell me the 3 brands, you need me 3 choices, you're pulling my energy.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't really care about this, but you do. And I love you. And because I love you, I trust you. I am empowered to know that you'll make the right decision. And it really doesn't matter. I'll never see it. I'll just know that you're happy. But I could not have done that years ago. Not because I even financially, when I could have afforded it, it wasn't the mindset that I had for it.
I get it.
And she looked at me very puzzled, by the way, which was great. It's always fun to puzzle your wife of 21 years.
Confused wife, happy life.
She's like, and then she smiled. She's like, oh, you mean this isn't going to be complicated? I'm like, why would it be complicated? Go get this thing that you want. Just make it happen. I don't have to ask you. Why would you have to ask me? Just go do it. It was great.
All right. Next time I see you, I'll bring you 5 things that I'm going to do in the next few years. That'll be benchmarks and milestones.
I can't wait.
On my journey.
And if you'll allow me, Ryan, I would be my honor to dive in with you and make them as juicy as possible. That like, you're like, I want that. Like, I want to get to the point where we describe it to the point in your words or your thing that you're just like, that is rad.
Okay. Deal.
And then we can play with when it's going to come in a timeline.
Okay. Deal.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Ryan. This was unexpected. You just kind of showed up at my office, which I'm liking.
You manifested me.
I did. And as always, thank you for your friendship and your vulnerability, your authenticity. And I feel really emotional right now. I feel like, I've got some good friends here, and I just feel really, I can feel like I'm really feeling like as I develop this program, I can feel my own pain and other people's pain of how hard this can be around money. And it's actually humbling me that I'm hoping that I can help people with a framework that and you're already there, Ryan. Like I'm happy for you. I think it's a great framework. I'm just hoping we can help more people with it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you.